Yo, 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 welcome back. What up, what up? Welcome to the Huddle Podcast live radio session. I'd like to give a thank you to everybody who follows this podcast. I greatly appreciate it. We're here to give you all football all the time, updates, news, breaking news. We have it all here on this podcast. I'd like to begin by starting with a wrap up of last week NCAA scores for those who did not catch it. We're going to start with Oregon, number 10, beats Utah, number 14, 20-17. The number 6, LSU, beat UAB, 41-10. Mississippi, number 20th ranked team in the country, loses to Arkansas Razorbacks, 42-27. Georgia Tech beats 18th ranked UNC, 21-17. The Georgia Bulldogs, number 1 in the nation, beat the Kentucky 16-6. Ohio State beats Maryland 43-30. Texas Longhorns beat the Kansas Jayhawks 55-14. Kansas State beats West Virginia 48-31. Notre Dame beats Boston College 44-0 shutout. Penn State beats Rutgers 55-10. Clemson beats Miami 40-10. Cincinnati destroys Temple 23-3. South Carolina beats Tennessee 63-38. We have a rivalry game in USC versus UCLA, which USC won 48-45. We have Washington, who beat Colorado 54-7 in a spanking. And Oregon State beats Arizona State 31-7. Used to be number 1, Alabama shuts out Austin Peay 34-0, which I don't understand why they keep giving Alabama these light teams to play and wonder why they've been first a lot. Yeah, you get a pretty easy schedule every year. Florida State beats Louisiana 49-17. Michigan beats Illinois 19-17. TCU squeaks by Baylor 29-28. SMU loses to Tulane 59-24. And Navy beats UCF 17-14 in a close game. Tomorrow for Thanksgiving, we will have a rivalry game between Mississippi State and Mississippi. I bet it's going to be a great game itself between these are two good teams, especially when it comes to rivalry. The games are tougher. I got Mississippi winning by at least 2 scores. If you disagree, let me know. We can debate why and why not that is. On to the next topic. I want to talk about the QB class of this year coming out of college, going to the NFL. I want to speak on, we got Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson. Top 4 QB prospects. And I can say that this is a pretty good QB class compared to what we had last season coming out. I'm not sure. Who do you guys think will go first in this draft? Is it Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? Or maybe there may be a surprise and Will Levis gets picked first. I guess it depends on need when it comes to that. But Bryce Young, I feel like might be the first, just because it's Alabama, he might just be the first one picked QB-wise. I'm not quite sure. I believe by the end of the season, the Houston Texans will be first. So if they're going to stick with, what's this guy's name? The Stanford kid. Give me a second. I know I can get his name. The Houston Texans quarterback, Davis Mills. That's what it is. There you go. Davis Mills. If they're going to stick with Davis Mills, I'm not sure, because in that case, then Bryce Young will be off the table for them. But if I was them, I believe they might go defense first and roll with Will Anderson Jr., which reminds me of Michael Parsons in a way, coming off the edge. So can't wait to see him in action then as well. But let's move to, I want to talk NFL. Because I have some thoughts I want to get across. I want to talk about, should the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers? Should the Packers trade Aaron bleeping Rodgers? What do you guys think? 38 years old. The Green Bay is not really in a winning situation at the moment, at least not of this year. But do you think they should keep him for next year? And hopefully the receivers would develop even more than, or maybe at a faster pace of where they're at now, because I'm watching the games. Romeo Doubs, he's showing glimpses of, I can be your number one. But for the moment, CJ seems to be the one showing that he's the number one target. for Aaron, and it's kind of hard to replace Devontae. So I wouldn't know how long this process would take. But if Aaron Rodgers is looking to get a ring sooner than later, it might be best he ask for a trade at some point. That's shit. Maybe the Packers should look into the draft and rebuild. I mean, you have young receivers. Why not have a young quarterback to build with them, to build a repertoire with them? Because right now, looking at it now, having a veteran quarterback the way he's been in the game this long, it's not a good thing to have young receivers who are not ready to play at his level or what he's accustomed to. The way Devontae Adams was, the way Jordy Nelson was, Donald Duke and the driver, players of that caliber. So I think there should be a team that's out buying who should take Aaron Rodgers' contract. It's a huge contract, but if you're trying to win, what's money, right? With that being said, about what's money, should Denver regret trading for Russell Wilson? A lot of people been going around saying that it was a bad deal for the Broncos to give up 2 number ones, 2 number twos, I believe a fourth and a third, Noah Fant and Drew Lock and a bunch of these players for Russell Wilson. Don't get me wrong. I've always said that Russell Wilson is not a franchise quarterback. When I mean by franchise, I mean he can do some good things for you, but he cannot be the offense itself, if you get what I mean. He cannot be the offense. So you got to remember when he was with Seattle, this man had he had Marshawn Lynch running the ball, and he had the Legion of Boom taking passes away. So now a lot of short yardage throws, a lot of runs, a lot of scrambling. This is what Russell Wilson was doing at his younger age. I understand as he gets older, he has a transition to know how to throw a little more because your body can't really take the hits it's going to take when you're receiving contact from bigger guys, especially him being, I believe, 5'11". He can't really take but so many hits so much. But I don't think the flip side of people are realizing that the Broncos, management upstairs was not relying on just Russell Wilson. See, I believe they gave him the contract because they understand back in Seattle, they ran the ball and played defense. Denver Broncos have a top 5 defense right now. I don't remember the last time they gave anybody 20 points until recently. I don't remember them giving nobody 20 points all year round. Denver's defense is top 5. Russell Wilson can help them get to the promised land, but the Broncos organization did not plan on Javonte Williams being hurt. See, they understand in Seattle, they ran the ball and played defense. So if you ran the ball and played defense, that can get them far enough. And Javonte Williams being hurt this season kind of put a hamper. So now it looks like the blame is going on Russell Wilson to carry the team. That was never his job to carry the team. They needed a stable quarterback who can play. Ever since Peyton Manning left, they didn't have a quarterback. Peyton Manning wasn't all that great. A few years after he got to Denver, he started to diminish. But the fact that he was a smart QB, he had a running game, and he had a defense, it still propelled them to win a championship. Denver knows that, so they went and grabbed Russell Wilson. So that $250 contract, it's a good deal if we look at the long haul of it. Javonte Williams he's out this year. Nathaniel Hackett is only the quarterback because they thought they were getting Aaron Rodgers, which I believe they should have waited until they got Aaron Rodgers before they got their quarterback. But I'm not upstairs in the office, so I wouldn't be able to make that move. But it was a bad call grabbing him before you got Aaron. And Aaron's been talking about leaving Green Bay for years, and it doesn't seem like that was going to happen then. And I think that kind of cost them Devontae Adams. But I don't think Denver should regret trading for Russell Wilson. Any Denver fans out there, do not feel bad about how Russ is playing this year. This is exactly who he is. It's just the stats look different because he doesn't have a running game. Melvin Gordon can't hold the ball. Hence why he's been released. Melvin Gordon cannot hold the ball. He's running with grease fingers. He cannot hold the ball. Russ has an 83.3 quarterback rating this season. 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's not great, but it's not bad either. 59.5% completion percentage. That can be raised a little bit higher, but once again, he doesn't have a running game, so he cannot feed off the play action. If anybody watched Seattle games when he had the Legion of Boom, when he had Marshawn Lynch, they ran the ball and he fed off the play action and he scrambled when needed. And the fact that now this move in some eyes makes Pete Carroll looks like a genius, but I think Pete Carroll's the one that made the mistake. It was never Russ. Even if Russ wanted to be the hero against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and he wanted that big contract, and Pete Carroll was the one that gave it the okay, because Pete Carroll was, I guess, wanted to prove that, okay, I made Russell Wilson. I'm the one that helped draft him, or things of that nature. Let me say it this way. Pete Carroll cost them the championship. It was never Russ, because no matter how bad Russ wanted it, I'm a Patriot fan. I'll be real with you. I am a Patriot fan for life. And I was even baffled that they did not give Beast Mode the ball. I would have thought they would have gave Beast Mode the ball at the 1 yard line. They ran it down our throats the whole drive. And I was ready to chalk that game up. How you doing, Maddie? I was ready to chalk that game up. But they chose to pass it. Who chose to pass it? Pete Carroll. He gave the okay for that to be a pass play. He wanted to make Russ the hero, and ever since then, they moved away from the passing game. From the run game. When they released Marshawn, when they began trying to throw the ball before running it, when the defense started to diminish because players were leaving. You don't think Pete Carroll caused the Legion of Boom to leave? You don't think he caused that? The defense was never the same since. They never felt the same way since. So back to my original point, Denver fans out there, do not feel bad about what Russ is doing. Denver Nation, it'll be okay. Javonte Williams is hurt. Y'all could not foresee that, just like the Broncos organization could not foresee that happening. Let's give it to next year. Let's get a new coach in there, and let's see what Denver does then. But Russ does not need to cook, because Russ can't really cook. You get what I mean? He can eat. He can eat off what the running back is doing. He can eat off the defense for giving him short yard situations. But to carry the team by himself, that's not Russ' job, and that never was Russell Wilson's job. I want to go into a segment real fast that I like to do on Wednesdays. It's called Overreaction or Underreaction. I do it on Wednesdays. And for anybody there who's listening, feel free to call in, because I have a few overreactions and underreactions I want to ask. I'm going to answer myself as well. Patrick Mahomes deserves MVP over Jalen Hurts if both teams finish first. Is that an overreaction or an underreaction? I'll give my answer at the end of the show. Can all 4 AFC East teams finish above 500? Is it possible? Does Tom Brady get the get the Bucks at least to the NFC Championship game? Is it an overreaction or underreaction that he gets them there? I'll give you my answer at the end of the show. Does Dallas Cowboys make it to the NFC Conference finally after all the years of heartbreak? Or do they give their fans another letdown after Jerry Jones continues to hype everyone up in Dallas Nation to get them riled up? Because I don't understand the fan base. I really don't understand the fan base. I have family members that are fans of Dallas, and I ask them every year, why do y'all keep assuming y'all going to the Super Bowl? And it's always, well, Jerry this and Jerry said this and the third. And I'm like, Jerry says a lot of things and haven't won in over 20 years. The man hasn't won in over 20 years. The man has not won in over 20 years, but yet Dallas fans still allow this man to talk. Allow this man to control what goes on in your head about your team when you can physically see if they're championship caliber or not. Don't get me wrong. This year it looks different. I'm going to be honest. This year it looks a lot different. The defense looks different. Last year the defense was great, but I feel like now it's spot on. It's top 3, top 2 if you want. Hell, you can go top defense, period. Michael Parsons is a bad man. Michael Parsons is a bad man. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of Dallas Cowboys itself, but I call it how I see it. And they call him the next LT, and He looks like he can be this generation's LT. I don't know if he can ever be better than LT for those of you who watch LT play. But for this generation, he can definitely be LT. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving games. The Pats play the Vikings. And let me talk about the Vikings for a second, because everybody's riding this bandwagon because the Vikings on this, well, before they lost to Buffalo, excuse me, not Buffalo, before they got spanked by Dallas, everyone was riding this Minnesota wave. Y'all do realize Minnesota is not as good as their record state there is. They're not that good. They're not as good as their record state that there are. If you watch how many games they played, they barely won by a score every game. There's always something last minute. How long do you think that can last before a team says, like the Dallas Cowboys did last week? So now they play the Pats. Now, I'm going to be real. I'm an objective Patriot fan. If something's wrong, I'll let you know. On offense, we're not that great, but our defense will always seem to be the same under Bill Belichick. No matter who we have in the backfield on defense or in our 11-man lineup, he seemed to produce players that can play defense. And for that, he will always have my respect as a defensive coach. But I got a gut feeling that we're going to beat the Vikings this week. Just on the strength because of the slump they had against the Cowboys. There's a blueprint. Because I don't think the Vikings got smoked at all this year, and now there's a blueprint on how to beat them. Bad at that, badly. How to beat them badly. And Dallas kind of exposed that, so I'm pretty sure the game plan from New England would probably be the same. Because Kirk Cousins is not that great under pressure. His arm is not that strong. So there's a good chance that the Vikings lose at home. Giants and Cowboys, I have Dallas winning that game. I'm going to give it a two-score advantage on that one. Buffalo at Detroit. Buffalo will win that game, but I got a feeling Detroit's going to give them a run for their money because lately Detroit plays some good football. For anybody know, Detroit plays good football. They just can't really finish games. Let me know your thoughts about that. And I want to have a little a what if segment real fast because what if Mahomes actually went to Chicago, number 2, instead of the Chiefs? Where would Chicago be right now? Because the Andy Reid is not the coach. So how does that play out? Is Mahomes really that good, or is Andy Reid's play calling, Eric Bieniemy's play calling, scheming? Or does that make Mahomes look good? Like, will he look the same way if he was in Chicago jersey? The Brady and Belichick feud that was once there, which I don't feel like is there anymore. I feel like the point was proven. I believe it was more Brady than it was Belichick, only because do everybody remember life before Tom Brady started for the Patriots? All my Patriot fans, the 5-11 seasons we were dealing with, the 8-8 with Drew Bledsoe. Just remember life before Brady got there. Don't get me wrong, the defense have always been good, but the defense can only go as far as Drew Bledsoe would have took them. Now this man made $100 million for a 10-year contract. So what if he never got hurt? Would Brady even have a career in the NFL? Just think about that. See, we talk about how Brady was a 6th-round pick and he was drafted by Belichick and just in the third. But what if he never played? At least for New England. I'm not going to say he became a free agent and went somewhere else and played, but what if he never played for? Will we consider Bill Belichick the greatest coach? Still, we wouldn't. But as for my reaction, over and under reaction, I do not believe all 4 AFC teams will finish above 500. I believe that's an overreaction. I understand everybody has a winning record now, but I believe somebody's going to fall under 8 and 9. Somebody's going to fall before, fall below 500, should I say. I believe it's an underreaction that Patrick Mahomes wins MVP over Jalen Hurts if both teams finish first. Only because Patrick Mahomes is doing more with less. I understand he has Travis Kelsey, but Jalen Hurts also has Dallas Goedert, which means he has a capable tight end. But Jalen Hurts also has AJ Brown, Devontae Smith on the outside. Quez Watkins has plenty of running backs in the backfield, including himself, and a great defense to go with it. Mahomes, the Chiefs' defense is not so great. They have talent. Don't get me wrong. They have talent. They have key pieces at key positions. But Mahomes doesn't really have outstanding receivers anymore. And I mean, I understand we continue to count Juju as a great receiver, but his stat wise, he's been dropping. Hence why he ended up on the Chiefs. I believe his stats were still the same and he was still doing what he had to do. I believe he'll still be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Maybe George Pickens won't be a Steeler. So I do believe Mahomes will deserve that more than Jalen Hurts if both teams finish first in their respective conferences. I believe Dallas does make it to the NFC Championship this year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I believe Dallas will make the NFC Championship this year, but I don't think they'll make the Super Bowl. And I got a feeling it'll be Dallas against Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay gets into the playoffs, which I believe they will because of their division, it will be Dallas and Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship conference. Not to say that the Niners can't sneak in there as well, because I believe the Niners are a sneaky good team as well. Tremendous defense, tremendous team all around, but that only depends on how far Garoppolo takes them. This is your host, Wayne's World. Welcome to the Huddle Podcast Live Radio. We'll be back again for another live after Thanksgiving, so y'all enjoy your holidays. Take care of yourselves and each other. And Denver Nation, Bronco Nation, it'll be okay.